spell, creep.
When it comes to making these runs, a few general ideas come to mind. Some days I want to try a meaty challenge, like beating Tears of the Kingdom without taking any damage. Other days, it's wanting to roleplay as a famous person or character, and seeing what odd scenarios you can get them into, like Babe Ruth in Fallout 4 or Dirty Harry in New Vegas. And other days, I just want to strip any and all complexity aside and just bash people to death with a blunt instrument. Obviously, from the title of this video, it is of the latter case, as I ask, can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only a lead pipe? Dwayne Pipe is my creatively titled character for this adventure. I didn't have any reference for the face, so I landed on a grizzled, shabby-looking mug, someone who looks like a thug, to go along with my weapon of choice. Special stats are standard for any melee builds, so moving on to tag skills of melee, no duh, unarmed for perks it can give, and medicine. Repair would have been nice, but I'm not looking to fix things with my pipe. For traits, I go with two I rarely take, that being Heavy-Handed and Logan's Loophole, the latter of which will assist greatly for its ability to make all chems last twice as long. Watch or skip to the end to find out. Out into the fresh air of Goodsprings, and like a weed addict, I need to find myself a pipe. Fortunately, I don't have far to go. As I learned from the wiki, one can be found in one of the houses in Primm. The weapon is better than I thought, needing 50 melee skill, and with 50 DPS, it makes for a quality beating utensil on the convicts inside the town. I also decided at this point, I'll only allow myself to wear metal armor. On reflection, making myself a sort of redneck Wish.com or Temu version of a medieval knight. That being said, I intentionally fail at saving the damsel in distress, simply because I couldn't be bothered to talk to him. I wanted to make Primm Slim Sheriff, but lacked the skill check, so off I went to offer a hit on my pipe to the jackals at the patrol station. I did notice here that the pipe is quite brittle, after making sure to stand still and not crush any of the mantises with my feet. Fortune smiles on me though, as the jackal leader had a spare pipe for me to use. I was going to use it on the rat scorpions at the rest stop, but they seemingly vanished. Or likely just didn't spawn. I didn't use the spare pipe for repairs earlier, instead having Major Knight repair both of them at the Outpost. I did also buy a metal helmet to complete my look, while taking requests for quests from Jackson and Ghost like we always do. Ants are nothing to me, and neither are the jackals halfway to Nipton, come to mind. Thomas once again tries to mimic Malcolm as he nearly jumps me from behind before being put in his place. That place being face down in the dirt, no worries, he won't be lonely, as I put not only Swanwick there too, but also Volpace in his pack. Guess I don't care to side with the Legion then. They could all die of lead poisoning, if you catch my drift. After all, you can't cosplay as ancient Rome without the lead poisoning. Finding the big book of science in the mayor's office, though, does give me enough science to go back and make Primm Slim Sheriff at last. After my dealings with Primm and the Outpost were complete, I opt to save time and head for the Black Mountain shortcut rather than head around. I did make sure to mark Hidden Valley for later, before dodging conversation with Chomps and Sloan, and nearly dodging Neil. I got caught up by a mutant patrol at the bottom of the mountain, and stood my ground and successfully fought them off. The time taken, however, allowed Neil to catch up. I didn't have any other complications from here to Freeside, just stopping by Repcon for the Brotherhood holotape should I need it. Once in Freeside, it fit in well with the local freaks and outcasts, in which I mean I proved my dominance with blunt metal and outpiped them for another weapon. I then used the looted Brotherhood power armor to buy a whopping 20 stim packs from Julie Farkas at the Mormon Fort. I just never seen that many sold at one time. Getting back on the subject of local weirdos, I stopped by to pay the Kings a visit. By this time, I was envisioning my guy as your typical grunt. Not the most clever individual, rather just some muscle a leader sends out to intimidate and enforce their will. For the time, that includes clubbing Oris on the back of the head, and then again until it explodes. Straightforward and to the point is how I'm playing it, so I brush off talking to Julie for this quest, and instead I carry out the King's will by backing up Pacer and frightening off the NCR from encroaching on Freeside. I didn't consider siding them as I did in my last video. so their declared hatred for me doesn't faze me. Besides, helping the Kings out against the NCR will have House decide not to drive them out in the end credits, so the future for the Kings will be bright and sunny and... Oh. This does push me to level 6 with a mixed melee skill and the toughness perk. As for the King's reward, I just asked for extra pay like a true grunt. Not that I didn't already have enough to pass the credit check, mind you. As you can probably imagine, given my previous explanation, I do believe Mr. House will be who I'm signing with. First things first though, I want to prove how much of a star employee I am to him, so I head off to the tops to get the chip. No smooth talking or negotiations involved, I'm just here to get the goods. If the chairman wants to die for it, let them. This is a firm statement I'm making to all those on the strip. Fall in line or else I will come around and break you in the name of Mr. House. Once I knock the ever-loving lights out of Benny by clobbering his entire head, I level up twice and take the mandatory melee perk of Super Slam, as well as beginning to build up my barter skills. Leaving the tops, I firmly reject Caesar's offer to meet by putting down his messenger, and meet with the man I pledged myself to before the game starts, so to speak. Using my leveled barter skill, I can squeeze some extra caps for my services, before handing over the delivery. I further handed 2 snow globes for 4k caps on top of that. Also, a useful tidbit, the Lucky 38 lobby is a great place to find a little of every chem. Just loot the saves in the room on the left by the stairs. When I left, however, the NCR messenger appeared to have his feet glued to the floor or something, as he didn't turn around or move a muscle to chase me. Regardless, I now moved on to wowing House even more by dealing with all the problems he'd send me to fix early, starting with the Emertas. Well, House may not be very happy about this one, as I opted to once again let my pipe do the talking and began beating them down. You'd think with them being the Mafia type, they would be prepared if someone sent a frightener like me around their parts, but nope. Few of them came at me in the lobby, allowing me to hunt freely around, leaving them all sleepy with the fishes. The roughing up of Gamora pushes me to level 10, and the second rank of toughness is snapped up without a second thought. Despite our frayed relations, the NCR does not wish to shoot me on sight just yet, so I can still head to Major Knight for repairs. With all the funds I collected, I purchased a set of reinforced metal armor, reaching the final form of the legendary superhero named after metal, Steel!
It's hammer time!
Well, there's one more thing I could acquire to reach peak form, a weapon upgrade. Believe it or not, New Vegas has so many unique weapons, there's even a unique version of the lead pipe. However, we can't just head right to it and pick it up. We instead must head into the Vegas sewers, which are looking extra glitchy this time of year, wouldn't you say? Anyway, what we're looking for is this room in the central sewers, where we can find the body of Blind Luke, or the corpse of Sweet Jill in another place. They don't have the weapon, but do have a key to a locked part of the sewers. You best be prepared when entering this section, as it is inhabited by several ghouls, including a glowing one and a reaver. Thanks to a combination of factors from the fast swing speed, super slam, and low AP cost and VATs, I can whittle them down and claim my prize, the Humble Cudgel. The Cudgel does an extra 4 damage, has a lower AP cost, and is more durable than the base version. To my mind, this thing is perhaps the least known unique in the entire base game. It certainly is for me. I never knew this thing existed until I did a playthrough just collecting all the unique weapons in the game. I think it's because of the hurdles you have to do to get it. On top of being located in the sewers, the place you only really go to as a beginning player, or for the Thorn. That's what makes it so unknown. Either way, for the B-roll footage playing while I was rambling on there, I paid a visit to Nellis next. It's the typical song and dance, pretend to listen to Pete, bonk the New Year's fireworks ants in the generator room, but not repair the panels. I didn't have the repair skill, nor did I care to go down to Helios 1, or had the speech requirements help Jack with his lonely life. But I would need some more XP, so I figured all I needed was another level up, and I already stumbled on the perfect quest to remedy this. Heading back to Black Mountain, I begin scaling the path expecting a fight. Only just like in my Dirty Harry video, none of the mutants are at their posts along the way. When we do finally meet near the summit, I cam myself up and begin whacking away. Even the thick skulls of the mutants can't withstand more than a few strikes from the cudgel, many of which seem to have not upgraded their weapons, as they're still only packing nail boards and hunting rifles. The Night Kid go down just as easily, and as for the sniper with Annabelle, I don't bother dodging and just eat the blast directly, such is my high defense. Suffice to say, that thing will sell nicely for some more chems and stim packs. As for Tabitha, I go the route of luring her out of her compound by freeing Raoul. Raoul does use a lead pipe if you tell him to use melee, but I just decide to let him go. I'm more than enough of a terrifying presence on my own. Maybe I should have boosted speech instead to get that perk for the hell of it. That would have fit well. Oh well. I leveled up twice before and after killing Tabitha, giving me enough points in medicine to heal Argyle's patients back at Nellis, which put me over the threshold to be idolized for the boomers who will be ready to serve house when the time comes. On my way to the crash bomber, something very funny occurred. Given my less than stellar rep with the NCR, their hit squad crew spawned in outside the Grubba Gulp to give me their warning. Seeing them chasing me, I began booking it towards the lake, only for the big hoarders between us to jump in and begin attacking them. Weirdly, they only attacked the lead NCR Ranger, who just took the punishment and didn't fight back, nor did the rest of her posse, who fled once she died. Not as tough as they seem, I guess. With that over and done with the bomber raised, I got back to my roots and hired myself out to the garrets to collect some debts and some more XP. Felt in character to go up to people holding my pipe in a threatening manner and threaten them to hand over owed money. Even got to punch some of them. I did then head onto the strip and quickly dealt with McCaffrey to assert that I am the better muscle. Oh, and update on the NCR messenger. He's still there. Between the two objectives left I could do for Howls, the Fort or the Brotherhood, I opt for the Fort next. Considering my track record, that will require me to storm the place and convince them to let me through. Well, before I could get there, a Legion Death Squad manages to one-up the NCR squad by not getting killed by bighorners, and jumped me while I was fighting some Vipers. I was caught off guard and struggling with the one with the super sledge, giving the others plenty of time to line up shots and splatter my head. Next time, I know they're coming, and as such, swap focus to deal with them first. I got lucky with Super Slave, but the Assassin Armor is just a little too good for the cudgel, as I'm barely making a dent. I do complete the Mad Max reference in White Line Nightmare, after killing some more Vipers. This does mean once the final assassin goes down, I could level up and have enough points into Unarmed to get the Piercing Strike perk, which will fix the issue of heavily armored enemies at the fort, and also Hidden Valley later. Getting enough XP to take it is why I put off taking them on up until now. And a lot of the dead Vipers here had metal armor, so I can repair mine without having to go to Major Knight for a change. Upon reaching the fort, we can see right away the effects that Piercing Strike has, as it doesn't take nearly as many strikes to knock some sense into the Legion. I do get good use out of the power attack, which causes me to run several paces forward to help close the gap on those with hunting rifles. Essentially, I spotted a Legionnaire and just began swinging in their general direction and never stopped until they stopped moving, then moved on to the next, and so on and so on. Canyon Runner never had his lights turn on before I put them out again permanently. Now, I technically did do my good deed and release the Weathers family from slavery, only I didn't clear out every Legion member yet, and both Kenny and Sammy didn't make it very outside the cage before getting gunned down. Whoops! What else can I say about the Legion at the fort that I haven't said before? With the double threat of Super Slam and Piercing Strike, I could effortlessly hammer my way through those in the initial grounds, then lure those inside the fort itself into the arena to coat its floor blood red. This allowed me to whittle their numbers with even less effort, as they seemingly patiently formed a queue outside and didn't rush me more than 2 or 3 at a time. Things did get much more involved inside Caesar's tent, as you can imagine. The Praetorians certainly could have brought their numbers to bear at the close quarters environment. But I, with some help from a hit of turbo, can thin their ranks before they get up by block and overwhelm me. Logan's loophole really shines as it gives me like 15 seconds of slow-mo to put them down, including Lucius. If I can manage, I can always leave Caesar for last, and kill him with irony, as once again the Roman Empire has been brought down by the power of a lead water pipe. With my bloodlust satiated for the time, I do what I was told to do many days ago, and head into the bunker to upgrade the Securitrons. Protectrons go down to a single tap, and the turrets too, so moving on to something more substantial. But before doing that though, I'd go back into the tent and loot the armor and weapons off the dead Praetorians, as to scrounge up enough caps to refill my stim pack reserves, and acquire the subdermal armor implants from the clinic, along with the endurance implant to further improve my defense. I do a bit more selling loot and buying stim packs with Chet and Doc back at Goodsprings, as I pretty much intend to deal with the Brotherhood, then fly by all of House's tasks and head straight to the final battle at the dam. But yes, it's time to see what is stronger, steel or lead. I do put the holotape to use by showing up on their front door and demanding entry, by which I mean, of course, smacking them upside the heads repeatedly without remorse. Despite the sound of my pipe just bouncing off their armor, it was doing anything but that. Psycho and Buffout combined are a hell of a mixture for melee builds, after all. And so the pattern went throughout the rest of the bunker, as I said about convincing them to leave the realm of the living. Dunk, 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 splat. I don't have the science to deal with the turrets, but I'm still intelligent, and so I just wait inside the rooms where they don't have line of sight, and wait by the door to jump anyone who comes to investigate. Even then, the amount of stims I have stockpiled means I can just defiantly fight out in front of them and not have to worry too much. Scribes stand even less of a chance, as if high-tech, state-of-the-art power armor can't stand up to a hearty bonking. Neither can they in their flimsy robes. Ain't that right, Elder? I do hit level 16 halfway through the second floor slaughter, and here I make quite the interesting realization. You know how Logan's loophole doubles the duration of all chems? Well, with 60 in medicine, I can take the chemist perk and now have all chems last 4 times as long. Not that you'll notice the impact of that yet, as I knock the lights out of Hardin and Taggart for their keycards, thereby evicting the Brotherhood or foreclosing the bunker for good. But oh, just you wait, you will see how truly broken this is. In the meantime, I offloaded my extra reward of loot for the bunker to the GRA, and then made my way to House, and yes, the NCR messenger is still there. It is not just loiterers House is having to deal with, but illegal entry too, as Emily Ortel forces her way in to ask about the bug I just planted mere seconds ago. I do get a good sampling of medical supplies out of it for my troubles though. But yeah, like I said before, I can fly through most of House's tasks, only requiring a round trip to Nels and back to confirm the Boomer's allegiance. He isn't best pleased about the Emertas, but I don't care, and by extension, neither do you. I do cheer him up by announcing the forced eviction of the Brotherhood though, but then I bring him back down as my low NCR rep means no protecting Kimble. This kind of shows the contrast between us, House, the calculating, manipulative, Machiavellian, working in the shadows, and me, the large, aggressive, brutal slab of a man whose only concern is caving in people's skulls and getting paid for it. He isn't all that pleased.
Consequently, I have to wait and see what happens. It's grotesque.
But still tasks me to head to the Eldorado substation and install the override chip. Considering I haven't swung around that part of the map, my closest fast travel point is at Black Mountain, which is actually beneficial as I can then reach the place without getting jumped by Legion assassins who like to spawn in around here. But with its installation, I can do one last favor for House and deliver him the prize of Hoover Dam. Once at the dam, the NCR are not immediately hostile to me, so my immediate focus is on the Legion. My high defense really shows itself off to cover for my slow movement speed owing to my metal armor, as I can take quite a bit of time to close the distance. When I do though, It's lights out for good, as my melee build is pretty damn well optimized for armor destruction. That being said, I did lose my Securitron backup, so I am solo for most of the rest of the way through. Not being a people person leaves me with no choice but to beat down the NCR guarding the control station, so now both factions are hostile on sight. I had no trouble whatsoever leading into the Legate's camp, nor with a handful of soldiers and Praetorians before the Legate himself. So remember what I said about chems, with both Logan's loophole and the chemist perk in effect being broken? Well, I'm just going to show you the entire unedited Legate fight, so you can get an understanding of what I mean. Goes without saying, but having Turbo last for nearly half a minute is super OP. No buts about it. I did try and see if I could get into conversation with Oliver under the effects, but alas he took too slow to walk over and it ran out. Showing that I can improve, I can coerce Oliver to leave peacefully with my maxed barter skill, finishing the game in the name of Mr. House, glitching out the ending slides, and answering yes, of course you can beat Fallout New Vegas with only the lead pipe. This run was very short, and deliberately so. I recorded it while in the midst of the 2 previous vids, and unsure of when those would get done, I made sure I completed this one in quick fashion, as to give myself time to complete it before the year is out. Well, I believe I'm ahead of whatever murky schedule I set for myself, so maybe another vid before New Year's? Nope, no promises. But as the typical ending of a video saying goes, if you enjoyed this, please show your appreciation by leaving likes, subs, and comments down below. Hype the video, whatever that does, and share this playlist around. That will go a long way to building this channel. I can't wait to hit 1,000 subs. With that over with, I have said everything I need to, apart from a final goodbye.